It is 7 a.m. I am walking into the hospital. My heart is beating fast. Today is my first day as a nurse. The hospital is big and the hallways are very quiet. I look at the clock on the wall. I am not late, I think. Suddenly, a man in a white coat walks toward me. He looks serious. "Are you the new nurse?" he asks. I nod and say, "Yes, I am." The man smiles. "I am Dr. Wilson. Welcome," he says. I feel a little better now, but then he gives me a paper. "Here is your task list for today," he says. I take the paper and look at it. The paper says, 1. Check room 305. 2. Help with the patient in room 402. 3. Report to the nurse station at 12 p.m. I feel nervous again. What if I make a mistake? I think. Dr. Wilson looks at me. "Don't worry," he says. "You will do fine. Go to room 305 first." I walk down the hallway. The hallway is long and I feel like everyone is watching me, but no one is there. I stop in front of room 305. My hands are shaking. I knock on the door. "Come in," says a voice. I open the door slowly. Inside the room, I see an old man sitting on the bed. He looks kind. "Good morning," I say. "How are you feeling today?" The man smiles. "I am fine, but I feel a little tired," he says. I smile back, but my mind is racing. What do I do now? I think. I take a deep breath. "I will check your temperature," I say. I look around the room. Where's the thermometer? I see it on the table. I pick it up. My hands are still shaking. The old man notices. "Is this your first day?" he asks. "Yes," I say. "How did you know?" He laughs. "Because you look nervous," he says. "Don't worry. You will do great." I smile, but then the thermometer beeps. I look at the number. It says 100 degrees. "You have a fever," I tell him. The man nods. "I know. That's why I'm here," he says. Just then, I hear a loud noise in the hallway. It sounds like someone dropped something. I look toward the door. What was that? The loud noise outside the room makes me stop. I turn to the door and listen. What was that? I whisper to myself. The old man in the bed notices my worry. "Is everything okay?" he asks. "I'm not sure," I say. I take a deep breath and smile at him. "I will check your blood pressure now." I pick up the blood pressure monitor from the table. My hands are still shaking a little. "Stay calm, Anna," I tell myself. I wrap the cuff around his arm. It feels tight and I press the button. The machine starts to beep. The old man looks at me and says, "Don't worry, nurse, you're doing fine." His words make me feel better. The machine shows the numbers, 140/90. I know this is high. I look at him and say, "Your blood pressure is a little high. I will call the doctor." He nods and says, "Thank you." I turn to leave the room, but then I hear the noise again. It sounds closer this time. I open the door slowly and peek outside. A cart with medical tools is on the floor. No one is there. How did this happen? I wonder. I walk to the nurse station and see Dr. Wilson. The patient in room 305 has a fever and high blood pressure, I tell him. I think he needs medicine. Dr. Wilson nods. "Good job," he says. "Go to room 402 next. There is a patient who needs help. I hurry to room 402. When I get there, I hear someone coughing loudly. I knock on the door. "Come in," says a weak voice. Inside the room, I see a woman sitting in bed. She looks very tired. "Hello," I say. "I am your nurse today. How are you feeling?" The woman coughs again and says, "My chest hurts. I feel very weak." "I will help you," I say. I pick up her chart and read it. The chart says she has pneumonia. I feel nervous again. I know pneumonia is serious. I bring her a glass of water. "Drink this," I say. She drinks slowly and thanks me. Suddenly she grabs her chest and says, "I can't breathe." My heart races. I press the call button to get help. "Stay calm," I say to her. "The doctor is coming." Dr. Wilson runs into the room. He looks at me and says, "What happened?" "She can't breathe," I say. He nods and tells me, "Get the oxygen mask." I grab the mask and hand it to him. He places it over the woman's face. Slowly her breathing gets better. "Good work," Dr. Wilson says to me. "You stayed calm. That's very important." I smile, but my hands are still shaking. After helping the woman in room 402, I feel a little more confident. I did it, I think. But then Dr. Wilson looks at me. "Anna, go back to room 305, he says. "The patient needs his medicine now." I nod quickly and walk to room 305. I open the door and see the old man still sitting on the bed. He looks at me and says, "Oh, you're back. Did you forget something?" I smile nervously and say, "I brought your medicine." I open the small bottle and pour 2 pills into my hand. "Here you go," I say, holding out the pills with a glass of water. He takes the medicine, but then he asks, "Is this the right one?" My heart stops for a moment. Did I check the label? I think. I quickly look at the bottle again. It says blood pressure medication. I sigh in relief. Yes, it's the right one, I say. The man laughs and says, "You're doing fine, nurse. Don't worry so much." Just as I'm about to leave, I hear a loud beep, beep, beep. It's coming from the machine next to his bed. The screen is flashing red. "What's happening?" he asks. I'm not sure, I say. My mind races. I remember Dr. Wilson's words, "Stay calm no matter what." I press the call button. A nurse runs into the room. She looks at the machine and says, "It's okay, the battery is low. I will fix it." I feel so embarrassed. "I thought it was an emergency," I say. The nurse smiles and says, "Better to be careful than to ignore it." I walk out of the room, my face red. What's next? I whisper to myself. At the nurse station, another nurse hands me a new chart. "Room 210, she says. "The patient needs an IV change." I take the chart and head to room 210. Inside, I see a young boy. He looks scared. His mother is sitting next to him, holding his hand. "Hello," I say softly. "I am your nurse today. How are you feeling?" The boy doesn't answer. He looks at his mother. "He's very nervous," the mother says. "It's his first time in the hospital." I understand. I say. I will change his IV quickly. It won't hurt. I prepare the new IV. My hands are steady now. I smile at the boy and say, "You're very brave." He looks at me and whispers, "Will it hurt?" "No," I say. "You'll feel a small pinch and then it's done." I change the IV carefully. The boy watches me the whole time. When I finish, he smiles a little. "See? All done," I say. The mother thanks me. I feel proud. But as I leave the room, I hear another call button. What now? I wonder. The call button is ringing loudly. I rush to the nurse station to see where it is coming from. "Room 210 again," a nurse says. I freeze. "The boy," I whisper. I run back to room 210. Inside, the boy is crying and his mother looks very scared. "What happened?" I ask, trying to stay calm. The mother says, "He says his chest hurts. He's breathing fast. Is something wrong?" I kneel by the bed and ask the boy, "Can you show me where it hurts?" The boy points to his chest and says, "It feels tight." I take his hand. "It's okay. I will get the doctor," I say. I press the emergency button on the wall. A voice over the speaker says, "Emergency team to room 210. Dr. Wilson arrives quickly. He looks at the boy and says, "Get the oxygen mask." I grab the mask and hand it to him. Dr. Wilson places it over the boy's face and says, "Breathe slowly. You're safe." The boy starts to calm down, but his mother asks, "What's wrong? Is he okay?" Dr. Wilson looks serious. "He may be having an allergic reaction." He says, "We need to act fast. Anna, prepare the injection." I freeze for a second. "The injection?" I ask. "Yes," he says. "The epinephrine. It's in the emergency kit." I rush to the emergency kit and open it. There are so many vials and syringes inside. My hands shake as I search for the right one. Finally, I see it. Epinephrine. I hand it to Dr. Wilson. He says, "No, Anna, you do it." My heart skips a beat. "Me?" "Yes," he says firmly. "You can do this." I take the syringe and draw the medicine. My hands feel heavy. I walk to the boy's bed. His mother is crying now and the boy's eyes are wide. I say softly, "You're very brave. This will help you feel better." I inject the medicine into his arm. The boy flinches but doesn't cry. After a moment, his breathing slows down. He looks at me and whispers, "Thank you." Dr. Wilson smiles. "Good job, Anna," he says. "You saved him." The mother grabs my hand and says, "Thank you, nurse. Thank you so much." I feel relief wash over me, but then Dr. Wilson says, "Anna, stay here with him. I need to check something." As he leaves, I look at the boy. He is smiling now, but I can't stop thinking, what if I had been too slow? Suddenly, the emergency button rings again. It's from another room. My heart sinks. "What now?" I whisper. The emergency button is ringing again. This time it's from room 305, the old man's room. I rush down the hallway, my heart racing. What could be wrong now, I think. When I enter room 305, the old man is sitting on the bed looking calm. He smiles and says, "Oh, it was me. I pressed the button." I blink. "You pressed the emergency button?" I ask, confused. "Yes," he says. "I just wanted to know how it works. I didn't mean to scare you." I take a deep breath, trying not to laugh. "Mr. Thomas," I say gently, "the emergency button is only for real emergencies." He chuckles. "I'm sorry, nurse. I was just curious. But since you're here, can I have some more water?" I nod and bring him a glass of water. "Here you go," I say. As I'm about to leave, I hear a soft beep from his monitor. I look at the screen. His heart rate is slowing down. "Mr. Thomas, are you okay?" I ask. He frowns. "I feel a little dizzy," he says. Then he leans back on the bed. I press the call button immediately. "I need a doctor in room 305, I shout. Dr. Wilson and another nurse arrive quickly. They check the monitor and start working on Mr. Thomas. "Anna, stay here," Dr. Wilson says. "We need to keep him stable." I watch as they give him medicine and adjust the machines. After a few minutes, his heart rate improves. He opens his eyes and looks at me. "I thought I was just thirsty," he says weakly. I smile. "You're okay now," I say. Dr. Wilson pats my shoulder. "You did well, Anna. You acted quickly." I feel relieved, but there's no time to rest. Another nurse comes in and says, "Anna, we need you in room 402 again. The patient is complaining of pain." I hurry to room 402. The woman is holding her arm and saying, "It's worse now. It's very swollen." I check her chart. She had an IV earlier. I look at the IV site. It's red and swollen. There might be an infection, I think. I press the call button again. A nurse comes in and says, "You handle this, Anna. You know what to do." I take a deep breath. I clean the IV site carefully and replace the needle. The woman winces but says, "Thank you. It feels better now." I smile, but as I turn to leave, the lights in the room flicker. Then the power goes out. "What's happening?" the woman asks, her voice full of fear. I try to stay calm. "Don't worry. The hospital has backup power," I say. But inside, I'm panicking. Suddenly, the emergency lights come on and Dr. Wilson appears at the door. "Anna, come with me," he says. "We have a big problem." Dr. Wilson looks serious as he leads me down the hallway. "The backup generator's running," he says, "but some machines aren't working. We need to check all critical patients." I nod and follow him, feeling both nervous and focused. "Stay calm, Anna," I tell myself. We enter room 210 first. The boy is still wearing his oxygen mask. His mother looks worried. "Is everything okay?" she asks. Dr. Wilson checks the machines next to the boy's bed. "Everything is fine here," he says. He looks at me and says, "Anna, stay with them while I check the other rooms." I smile at the boy and his mother. "You're doing great," I say to the boy. He nods but looks tired. A few minutes later, Dr. Wilson returns. "All patients are stable," he says. The power will be back soon. I feel a wave of relief. That's good news, I say. Suddenly my pager beeps. It's a message from the nurse station. Urgent, room 305. My heart skips a beat. Mr. Thomas, I whisper. Dr. Wilson and I rush to room 305. When we arrive, Mr. Thomas is sitting up in bed smiling. Oh, it's you again, he says cheerfully. I blink in confusion. The message said it was urgent, I say. Mr. Thomas laughs. I press the button again. I wanted to make sure it works after the power went out. I stare at him, speechless. Then Dr. Wilson bursts out laughing. Mr. Thomas, you're keeping us busy today, he says. I'm sorry, Mr. Thomas says, chuckling. But now I know the button works perfectly. I can't help but laugh too. Mr. Thomas, you're going to give me a heart attack on my first day, I say. Dr. Wilson pats my shoulder. Anna, you handled today very well, he says. You've had a tough first day, but you stayed calm under pressure. That's what makes a great nurse. As the power comes back on, the hospital feels normal again. The lights are bright, and the machines beep softly. I feel a sense of peace. At the end of my shift, I sit down at the nurse station. My feet ache, and I feel so tired, but I also feel proud. Another nurse walks by and says, Good job today, Anna. First days are always hard, but you did great. I smile and say, Thank you. As I leave the hospital, I think about everything that happened. I helped a boy breathe. I stayed calm during the power outage, and I even survived Mr. Thomas's mischief. I look at the sunrise outside and smile. Tomorrow is another day, I whisper. I think I'm ready for it.
Here are 10 questions about today's story. Write your answers in the comments below. Let's see how many you get right. 1. Who is the main character in the story? A. Dr. Wilson. B. Anna. C. Mr. Thomas. D. The boy. 2. What time does Anna start her first day? A. 6 a.m. B. 7 a.m. C. 8 a.m. D. 9 a.m. 3. What does Dr. Wilson give Anna at the beginning? A. Medicine. B. A chart. C. A task list. D. A thermometer. 4. What is the problem with the old man in room 305? A. He has a fever and high blood pressure. B. He is scared. C. He cannot breathe. D. He has chest pain. 5. What does the boy in room 210 need? A. Water. B. An IV change. C. A thermometer. D. A blood pressure test. 6. What happens when the power goes out? A. The machines stop working. B. Anna leaves the hospital. C. Dr. Wilson calls for help. D. The old man presses the emergency button. 7. Why does Mr. Thomas press the emergency button the second time? He feels dizzy. B. He wants to test the button. C. His machine is broken. D. He needs water. 8. What does Anna give the boy during his allergic reaction? A. An oxygen mask. B. Epinephrine. C. A thermometer. D. Water. 9. How does Anna feel at the end of her first day? A. Tired but proud. B. Angry and upset. C. Nervous and scared. D. Excited and full of energy. 10. What lesson does Anna learn during her first day? A. Always ask for help. B. Stay calm under pressure. C. Never trust patients. D. Work alone to avoid mistakes. How did you do? If you want to check the correct answers, you can find them in the pinned comment below. Don't forget to share your score and thoughts in the comments. Let's keep learning together.